Joe Biden losing his riz as his brain goes fizz. Democrats crapping their pants over new polls that show young voters flocking to Donald Trump. A group Joe won by 20 points in 2020. Latest Fox polls have the former president leading Biden among voters under the age of 30. Just look at that. Joe thinking the best way to win him back is by sitting down with Conan to talk about his hair.
If you stay connected to these things that embarrassed you when you were a kid, whatever it was, speech impediment or anxiety or feeling awkward or not being a good athlete, my list goes on and on and on. Having weird hair, having a weird name.
I wish I had your hair. I'd trade right now if you want.
You want this hair? It comes off. It Velcros on the back. Yeah.
If I could do it, I would do it.
I will mail you this wig tomorrow.
Joe could do it, actually. Kamala is also hitting the airwaves to offer up this pearl of wisdom on the election.
You know, every election cycle we talk about this is the most election of our lifetime. Lawrence, this one is. I have been fortunate and blessed to, during the course of being vice president, have many situations where it becomes clear to me that there are, you know, people of every age and gender, by the way, who see something about being the first that lets them know they don't need to be limited by other people's limited understanding of who can do what.
Wow, that was amazing. Dana, I have two theories.
Okay.
She's drunk.
No.
Okay. Then whatever Fetterman had, he regifted.
I mean, they have had some late nights having to do the holiday party.
You are too diplomatic.
Nice.
She is high as a kite.
I just think that this is actually, her numbers go up when she doesn't do interviews.
Yeah.
Okay, there's actually a strategy to that. Like, as you said, President, like, just don't talk and your numbers go up. I was with a friend the other night. She's a Democrat. She voted for Biden and Harris. And she said, what do you think is the problem for Harris? I'm like, I don't know how to explain it.
Switch to light beer.
No, I don't.
Whatever she's drinking.
I don't know if that is it.
That was not sober. I'm not drink shaming. I'm just saying, I'm trying to give her an out here because that made no sense.
I think that this is very reminiscent of all the other times she's done interviews. Think about the space interview, right?
Yeah.
The space and the word salad. I can't remember that one word she repeated 20 times in one sentence.
Yeah.
The run-on sentence. And what I thought was interesting is that Lawrence O'Donnell didn't even try to help his sister out. Mm-hmm. He doesn't try to interrupt and say, let me before I let you go, let me ask you one more question that he thinks she can actually nail.
Yeah, passage of time. You know, it's weird. It's like she's not learning on the job. She's unlearning on the job, which is a first. Harold, I want to go to you. I'll try not to embarrass you too much. Do you think young people are catching on that equity and identity doesn't create a future, that pronouns don't lead to property? You can't raise a family on reparations and an oppression filter. Do you think they're catching on to the destructive ideas of the Democratic Party that you seem to defend every day as a known communist?
Oh, my God.
So investing in America is up. Prices are coming down. Corporate profits are up. Every barometer about how
profits? Well, I'm out of here.
Corporate profits are up.
I don't know if that's the best argument for the young people.
Hiring is up, and we're going to find a way to make the country better. And if you're a young woman and wants your rights to go to a doctor and a doctor be able to tell you everything that doctor wants to tell you, how to vote Democrat. If I were them, I'd be speaking my book. I'd be out pounding away at why we deserve 4 more years. But if you're constantly on defense, and one last thing, they got to deal with the border. I agree with everybody around it. The border is the one issue that can trump, no pun intended, could trump the advantage that Democrats have on reproductive rights and access to a safe and legal abortion. So I didn't dismiss the numbers yesterday with Biden falling. Those are not good numbers. Let me be clear. If you're in the White House, and I've said it before, I don't know what your strategy is. I keep seeing these awful numbers, and I don't know what I see the vice president, I see others on, and no one is giving us a litany of the things you've done and why that's connected to what you're going to do going forward. If you don't do that, the more Greg Gutfeld's arguments are going to be compelling, and the more they're going to connect with voters, particularly young voters.
Speaking of abortion, you want to hear an abortion joke?
I do not.
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
You'll never know.
I'm not laughing.
Not funny. I'm just.
It's a good joke.
An oldie but a goodie.
An oldie but a goodie. Jesse, remember when Fallon got all that grief for good-naturedly joking with Trump about his hair? Think that'll happen here?
There will be a rebound with Trump
and the entertainment business. There will be. There has to be, just for the money and the ratings. But if you're a young person in the 20s, in 2016, if you were for Trump, you were ahead of the curve. You were edgy, you saw it coming, and Hillary was terrible. So and then 2020 happened, and you had COVID, and Trump was just getting slaughtered in the media, and there was a lot of psyops, and everybody was disconnected. Everybody was home. And then you get 2024 rolling around, and Joe just doesn't have the cool factor. Kamala doesn't have it. The cities aren't cool anymore. Everybody with cash left to the burbs or Miami. And rates are too high, so you don't see a future for yourself. You're like, all right, I got a pot of money, but I can't put it down on a house because rates are at 7%. And then the identity politics and the gender stuff, if you're a young guy or even a young girl, you're like, this is just crazy. Especially with the girls playing the boys' sports. It's just crazy. And so now you don't look at a guy like Trump as this kind of radioactive and saying, he's normal now. He's normal, and Joe is the nut job who is like can't walk.
Yeah.
So and then Kamala, she's not an asset. She was supposed to be this like groovy asset that was young and could get the Latino or black vote or the young voters.
How does groovy look again?
She can't. She can't pull it off.
Yeah.
And that's terrible. No one even knows who she is in the streets. You see Johnny. No one's ever heard of her.
Right.
Definitely. All right. To his
Want to hear an
point.
abortion joke?
Yes. Knock, knock. All right. Emily, there seems to be what Jesse said clumsily and almost incoherently, is that there seems to be a flip going on,
I had
right?
what Kamala had.
Yes. That people who were once hip are now crotchety. And the people that they used to make fun of for being out of touch are now cool and interesting to young people because they're rebelling against this bizarre identity conformity.
And that the entire time, what they perceived as cool was a whole farce. The reason people don't know who Kamala is because she doesn't know who she is. This is a total case of the emperor's new clothes as we sit here watching her engage in her word salad and her just absolute lack of any sense whatsoever. Those of us common sense Californians who lived in San Francisco while she was DA and in California while she was an attorney general and then senator, we've seen this from the beginning. She never even passed the bar on the first. It just, everything about her.
She failed the bar the first time?
Yes, she did.
It's the only bar she didn't pass.
Oh my God.
Unlike me, that passed both bars in the first try. So the whole point is, here's someone that has been intellectually unqualified, and you either, you work hard or you're really smart. And in her, what have we seen either? We've seen no accomplishments whatsoever. But the point is that this administration shoved down everyone's throats why they should think she is hip and cool and blasting through ceilings, and why Joe Biden was hip and cool and should listen to the left. But the fact that they're not ideologues, they are just virtue signalers, is now reflected in everyone leaving. So this New York Times Siena poll just this week, this July, they voted overwhelmingly for Biden over Trump, 18 to 29 years old. Now they're voting overwhelmingly for Trump. Who do they trust more with Israel and Palestine? Trump. How many percentage do they find is disfavorable? They look disfavorably upon the president. Overwhelming majority, almost 75%. Because the whole point is he isn't sticking to his guns. He had no guns in the first place. He just said what he thought they wanted to hear by propping up a TikToker, by saying something cool, by saying really racist comments that they sort of pushed under the rug. So at the end of the day, we are seeing him for his true stripes and Kamala for their true stripes, which is absolutely worthless, and Trump for his true stripes. He's always been radical. He's always been not a politician. That's what drew people to him in the first place. And the biggest difference, too, is he listened.
All right. There you go. Take a breath now, Emily.
I can breathe.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Kilmeade. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to click to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page. This is the only way that I know for sure that you're not going to miss any great commentary, any great news bites, any great interviews coming your way on Fox. You can get it all here on YouTube. So subscribe right now.